What's up, World Wide Web? E-Daddy, your angry toy guy, with you again to talk about, well, whatever I want. Actually, today we're going to talk about something kind of close to a lot of us, maybe. Back in the 80s, there was a thing called the Rock and Wrestling Connection that was basically spearheaded by both Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan. They had a variety of people going through and helping them along the way, and the whole thing of them setting up WrestleMania really helped with the whole thing. So they started producing all kinds of toys as well through various companies, whether it be LJN, Hasbro, Mattel, Jakks Pacific, back to Mattel. There's been a lot of contributors to help them on the whole toy thing over the years. So what we're going to look at today is the cut. So what we're going to look at today is actually the little thumb wrestler dudes. Now we're not going to look at the big LJN figures yet. That's coming, don't worry. But we're going to look at these little LJN figures. Now, I've only got like 4 of them, and these right here have actually been like redone. Been going through and like slowly redoing them. JYD here, originally he was just in trunks with the white boots. I still got a little bit more work to do on him, plus put the JYD on him. But they were pretty durable. I mean, the paint sucked. I'll get to more on that one here in a little bit, but he had figures like, the Junkyard Dog here. Another one I'm working on, Big John Studd. I still got a little bit more to do on him, including redoing his head and hair and all that. Crap ordeal. The Iron Sheik. And Hulk Hogan, just to name a few. Believe it or not, there's only like 12 of them made. 2 of them were a little harder to find. They were like not produced on such a wide scale as compared to the other 10. And the 2 that were not produced on a wide scale was actually Jake the Snake Roberts and King Kong Bundy. But I mean, on top of these 4, you had Nikolai Volkov, Randy Savage, Roddy Piper, Hillbilly Jim, Ricky Steamboat, and Paul Orndorff. So I mean, and really, those guys right there pretty much was spearheading the whole rock and wrestling thing. Steamboat not nearly as much as like Jake or Bundy would be in there, but he was there. But a lot of them, you could buy them single carded, or you could buy them in 2-packs. Majority of the time, you found them in the 2-packs back in the day. The 2-packs usually, Hogan was always the big one, because you had Hogan and Studd, Hogan and Sheik, Hogan and Bundy, if you could find it, Hogan and Volkov, Hogan and Savage, Hogan and Roberts, if you could find that one too, and Hogan and Piper. That's funny, Jim. Another one you could find the 2-packs with was Hillbilly Jim. You usually found him also with the Sheik, Studd, Volkov, Savage, and Piper. JYD, there's only like 4 different 4-packs for him, where they had him coming with Sheik, Studd, Piper, and Volkov. Steamboat was the same way. They only had like 4 characters they had him going with, and that was of course Savage, Piper, Volkov, and Roberts as well. And then if you can find the Paul Orndorff one, they had him going up with Studd, Bundy, and Piper. Overall, I mean, these things are great. Now, I need to say, I've got really big thumbs nowadays, and it's really weird because, in all honesty, I mean, you look at them now, and with where they put the holes at, it's like, I'm going to say get somebody my size, and it's like, ain't going to work real well. It almost looks like you got your thumb shoved up their ass, to make them wrestle and everything. like I said, they were pretty durable over the years. The paint pretty much sucked. I got some pictures I'm going to put up now of what these actually look like to start with. The exception of Hogan. Hogan is one that I started on like a year or two ago and started repainting him. I still got a little bit of touch up to do with him. So alright, so first one we took a look at there was actually the Iron Sheik here. And as you can see from the first picture, a lot of paint wear. Paint really wasn't much on the boots, and really not a lot on the legs. Face, you can hardly see anything with him. But like I said, they're still pretty durable. They didn't tear a whole lot. With how thin the plastic was on the plastic rubbery material they used. It didn't really tear real well. So a lot of these you can find actually in pretty good shape nowadays. But you can still do various things with them. But if anything, they're a great little showpiece. And anybody's got kids nowadays, you can go through and go through and let them wrestle with them. I repainted these so way the kids can go through, and if they want to mess with them, they can. Alright, so Hogan, he was in really bad shape whenever I got him, and I really wish I'd had like a before picture on this. But a lot of the paint on the boots were gone. Knee pad's the only thing that like, paint really held out. Like the hair coloring, it left. So did the mustache paint, So, and like I said, they didn't hardly tear. They stayed in pretty good, really good shape. It don't really take a whole lot to really fix these things up. Keep them around for a little collector's piece. If anything, I'll say this: the company that made these to start with, and I'm pretty sure, LJN, which we all know made sucky ass video games. But they could do well with toys, and why they quit making toys, who knows? Because they did better with these than they did video games. Alright, so the next one we're going to take a look at here is actually the JYD. And like I said, with him, all he came was wearing trunks. He didn't have the full tights on, which I went through and I've redone him up. Still working on him as well. Put him in the full red tights we're always used to seeing him in. Just a full tights period. Now, him, definitely boot wear was definitely an issue, and paint wear as far as like on his head and his hair and around his beard and stuff. But once again, they held up really well. Now the only thing, no, this ain't the one either. I thought this is the one that had a little bit of a tear on it, and it's not. And which one was it? I was looking at one earlier. Unless I checked it off to the side. Oh, it was Hogan that I was talking about earlier. You did, every once in a while you would have one that would like barely split right there. If you can see it. But, it really wasn't a whole lot of split there. So, it wasn't too bad. And like I said, JYD, you go through and you fix these things up. New coat of paint on them. Make them look really good, really nice. Great thing to remember a lot of the legends from back in the day. Alright, so last one we're going to look at, the last of the four I got, is actually a Big John stud here. Now, you can tell this one was really played with a lot. You can see him from the previous photo. A lot of paint gone on him. This one's really dirty still yet. I still got a lot of dirt and everything to get off of him. And as well as going through and also still fixing his hair, his mustache, eyebrows, that kind of crap. But overall, it's like, putting him back in the white trunks that we was always used to seeing Big John in with the red boots. Came out looking, I think pretty well. White's always one of those colors that's really hard to do. But yeah, overall, like I said, they were really well made. I mean, you could go through and crunch, give them ab crunches, force their arms back, twist them just about any way you want to, and they weren't tearing up at all, which was great to see. They held pretty well. And for something that is now, let's see here, 34 years old now, really they're holding up really well. So, I mean, you go through and you look at it that way, it's something that a lot of us can have some, still have for a nice little collector's piece here and there. Alright, so that was my look at the little LJN Thumb Wrestlers. Like I said, they're definitely worth, if you got them, keep them. Take a little bit of acrylic paint, redo them, and you can go through and paint them up out any way you want to, really. I kept about as tried and true the colors as I could with the, how they originally looked. So I mean, overall, they came out looking nice so far, and time it's all said and done, they're going to look a hell of a lot nicer. And it's toys like this where we can say they survived the test of time. I mean, something that's 34 years old at this point, a little bit of touch-up paint, they're still good to play with, to still display and everything. And if you can find them, and especially like some of the, find these things, they're great to have around. I know it seemed like always the popular ones I found was, other than like these four right here, was also Hillbilly Jim and Volkov. Really finding a Savage, Steamboat, Orndorff, they were a little bit harder to find. I think Piper was another one that was pretty easy to find. But like Jake the Snake Roberts and King Kong Bundy, you find those, and they're in decent shape, those things are still worth some pretty good money. And you look at any company that goes through and makes thumb wrestlers nowadays, they're not going to hold up like these guys right here. I'll get them back out here. Let's face it, they're actually in pretty good shape. Like I said, a little bit of paint to redo them, but other than that, they're in really good shape. So, anyways, that's a small short little video I was wanting to do here for y'all about the little LJN Thumb Wrestlers. Y'all feel free to go through and keep enjoying them, touch them up. Another 35 years from now, they'll probably still be outlasting things made here in 2019. Alright, so I'm going to cut this one out. Anyways, like I said, enjoy them. Clean them up a little bit. Like I said, 35 years from now, still will be pretty good. That being said, I'm E-Daddy, your angry toy guy. Until next time, keep collecting them. Keep them in good shape. You never know what you might actually have. Later.